Hi guys, Micah Fights with Friends. Sorry, I was having some issues with my microphone there. I just noticed. But, man, what a day. First of all, Nevada State Athletic Commission, January 29th. Today was the day Khabib Nurmagomedov and Conor McGregor were to finally face the Nevada State Athletic Commission for the out-of-the-ring things that happened after UFC 229. Of course, Khabib Nurmagomedov jumped out of the cage. Conor McGregor hit somebody else outside of the cage and, you know, really egged a lot of that on through press conferences and different things that the Nevada State Athletic Commission could trace back to him. But let's start out with Jon Jones. Of course, Jon Jones, he's been having this issue with the Cerrone ball. Is it pulsing? Is he going to be positive this time? Is it going to be negative? It's like a mystery. And they had some supposed scientists out there today. They had all these people talking. They had this hearing for about 4 hours. And unfortunately, I will tell you, I got very little out of it. Be thankful I sat through it for you, because it was an absolute waste of my time. And nothing was said that hasn't been said over and over again. by these scientists, but Jon Jones was the only one that was there physically. Khabib Nurmagomedov and Conor McGregor decided not to show up. They just had their lawyers show up for them. So first, let's go into Jon Jones. Of course, he's supposed to be fighting Anthony Smith, and if he's going to be fighting Anthony Smith in Las Vegas, he's going to need a license to do that. Because the UFC, if he didn't get a license, they would schedule this whole thing and then get everybody on planes and tell them all to fly, to Los Angeles or something? And the UFC would never do that to their fighters and fans. I apologize for even assuming that such a catastrophe could happen. What's up, comedic genius? We are live. Sorry about the sound. Might you shut up there, not sounds. What's up, Panhead Bob? And apparently the resurrection of Ted Bundy is in here. And I apologize, but the use of that word is going to put you in timeout. So, all good now. Got to make some popcorn. Was an interesting, not to get away from MMA though, but for those of you that don't know who Ted Bundy is or wonder why he was such an interesting person, there is a great documentary right now on Netflix. I was bedridden for like 5 days. I pumped out a couple videos, but I would get like 30 minutes of energy at a time. And this flu is still pulsing like Tyranobol in Jon Jones's body. I'm feeling it off and on, but I reserve the right to stop going to work at any time. If I'm able to make one day, I just tell them my flu's pulsing and I can't make it the next day or two, and there's not really a whole lot they can do about it. But it looks like it is set. Jon Jones is relicensed in Nevada. He will be fighting Anthony Smith at UFC 235 on March 2nd. So very, very soon here. Very, very soon. Let's check that out. I was just looking at... I was MMA Weekly. CBS was the most critical of him. CBS Sports was very critical of Jon Jones, but they wrote a pretty good article as well. So this is from MMA Weekly. Jon Jones receives license for UFC 235 after lengthy hearing with Nevada Commission. Yes, it was very lengthy to sit through, to say the least. I wish I would not have. Oh, Ted, well now. Jones will never be on pound-for-pound list in my mind. I think you'll like my pound-for-pound list, Zoltan. Bader versus DC is the fight to make. Share the profit, Bellator, UFC. I would say I was on with that, Zoltan, except for the fact that I think Stipe deserves an automatic rematch. They hate each other legit, and they never fought in the UFC. There's so many money fights out there for Daniel Cormier. It's absolutely insane. But like I said, Jon Jones has been cleared to fight Anthony Smith at UFC 235 in Las Vegas following a hearing today. Part of his licensing, Jones must undergo a rigorous drug testing schedule. Where have we heard that before? At least twice per month minimum, and the UFC light heavyweight champion has to pay for that additional testing through March 2nd. The commission also recommended Jones continue to be extensively tested through the end of 2019 so they could study his results. Now look, all of these guys at the top level are tested on a constant basis. I believe Holly Holm, I may be overstating this, but I want to say she said she was tested 100 times in a year. And she's never failed a test. So interestingly enough. Lengthy hearing that stretched past 3 hours featured very little testimony from Jones. That's no lie, although he was in attendance alongside his attorney. Commission quizzed Jones about his drug test in 2017 that came back positive for Trinabol, an anabolic steroid banned at all times in and out of competition, which he later faced a 15-month suspension for the UFC anti-doping policy infraction. Did you guys hear about, I was listening to Chael Sonnen's show, and he was talking about a Russian tennis player. He didn't name the female involved because he couldn't remember it. I think it may have been Maria Sharapova. I haven't, caught up with tennis in quite a while. But he said there was a substance that was legal in tennis, and then they made it illegal. And it was still in this person's body. And they did not take it. They could prove that they did not take it after they made it illegal. They ended up suspending this person for 2 years because it was in their body. Whether it had been legal before or not, they didn't care how it got there. They said, you're going to be suspended for 2 years, and it ended her career. The UFC, they don't want to go down that road, apparently. Several drug tests have been flagged from Jones with trace amount of that same long-term metabolite showing up in his body in testing conducted by USADA. And if you want to know what that hearing was about today, it was a bunch of rich junk science doctors, in my opinion. I don't know, I'm not a freaking scientist. But junk science doctors, in my opinion, why this is in here, why it should be in his body, why we should be worried if it wasn't in his body. Very interesting. What's up, Smiling Sam? Is this Smiling Sam Alvey? What is going on, my friend? When did you start doing a Save the Show donation, Mike? That is today, sir. Everybody clap. Smiling Sam Alvey is in the building. Okay, I need a new computer, so that's why they hit each other legit. I don't think that DC, I don't want to see DC fight Bader before Stipe, though. Congratulations on your next fight there, Smiling Sam. And the Ted Bundy thing was, it wasn't Ted Bundy. It was the name of that show that I'm not a big fan of. How come every time I upload the Underground Taser MMA videos, they take them down? I have no idea, Rocky Reyna Show. How's it going, though? How's everybody doing? Like I said, NSAC finals. We got pound for pound listings. And I think somebody may like them. Somebody that may be watching tonight may like them because they are in those pound for pound listings. I'm not going to say, but that being a former heavyweight champion. Just a question, if you're not a fan of that show, how come you stole Savage? I don't like them either. It's not right to be unoriginal. They weren't the first ones to do it, just like they weren't the first ones to... they weren't the first ones to have a fight companion. Joe Rogan coined it. I was actually doing fight companion things before I'd ever heard of MMA holes. Just like they tried to say that they're original for taking a shot for $5. That's been going on since basically the beginning of the YouTube, and the Save the Show thing's been going on live stream since the beginning of live stream, all the way back over 5 years on Twitch. So I didn't mean to get defensive there, but thank you. EPO was yours. That's chick, you said. EPO, it was thighs, chick, you said. Sorry, I don't quite get you on that one, Comedic Genius. Comedic Genius may have smoked a lot of weed before this show, so just kidding you, brother. Just kidding you. But let's get into the other part of that. Jon Jones is scheduled. That's what we need to know, basically, is Jon Jones is scheduled. Let's go into the next part of that Nevada State Athletic Commission hearing. What's good? 7 in the house. Dean Hamper, you think? What's going on? Hello, Dean Hamper. Good to see you in here, sir. Good to see Smiling Sam Alvey and some of the originals. I know this was kind of late announced. But Conor McGregor versus Khabib Nurmagomedov from UFC 229. We've been waiting a very long time to find out what the result of this was going to be since October 6th. To be exact, of course, Khabib Nurmagomedov did some eagle bear smash outside of the cage. Conor McGregor socked a couple people inside the cage, and they both were fined and suspended today. Conor McGregor, the lesser fine and suspension of 6 months and $50,000. I'll ask you guys what you think of that here in a minute. But Khabib Nurmagomedov, this is the important one, $500,000, 25% of his purse, and a 9-month suspension. Now, of course, as we keep talking about, Ramadan starts May 4th. Khabib Nurmagomedov is a practicing Muslim, and Ramadan, when you practice it, you cannot eat from sundown to sun up. So, and also usually you give something up, kind of like at Lent. He gives up fighting for that time, from May 4th to June 5th. So he was offered some anti-bullying classes, though. If he takes those anti-bullying classes, that would reduce his suspension from 9 months down to 6 months, which would put him April 6th. That gives him plenty of time for them to schedule a fight, and I imagine they would like to schedule that probably right there towards the beginning of April. Whatever, maybe that first weekend of April. Who he'll fight, I don't know yet, but we know Conor most likely we know Conor's going to be fighting Cowboy, it looks like. What's up, Drew Cummins guy? Which is a fight I very much approve of. I'm very much okay with that. Is this the real Sam, or you catch fishing? I'd like to think I'm the real deal. What's up, family, says PR. What's up, Pierre? Good analysis on chronic reference. Why, thank you. Hi, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't you say that show inspired you to do this show? Are we being inundated by MMA holes tonight? Shows like it, I did like what he was doing over there, but the original inspiration was from Joe Rogan, and I had wanted to be some kind of a broadcaster when I was a kid. When I was, probably since I was like 8 or 9 years old, to be honest. I would be sitting next to my Uncle Joe, driving him nuts, but he never said a thing, so I never knew it drove him nuts, but I know now it probably did. I would sit there and call the play-by-play of every sports we would watch since I was like 8 or 9 years old. And then I got into the corporate world, of course, went after money. Got married at 20 years old, having kids starting having kids at 21, kind of changed things. And now they're in high school, and I would like to do some kind of commentary thing, and this YouTube thing it could be a good springboard and could end up being a life choice career. If I can figure out how to monetize it the right way, and if I can stay well. This flu in Washington State right now is like the freaking plague. But I want to know, we know that Conor McGregor is fighting Donald Cerrone. So we know that's most likely going on. Who Khabib fights is, I hope it's Tony Ferguson. But Mike, do you think the suspensions were fair? I think they were fair, because I think what Khabib Nurmagomedov did, I think they could have been much more severe, because you go back to what Mike Tyson did years back with Evander Holyfield, and he got a lifetime ban from boxing. Never, I don't believe, was ever relicensed by Nevada. If it was way, way in the future. So I don't know, but he was suspended for at least 3 years. They still wouldn't let him fight in Nevada. They had to make the fight against Evander Holyfield in Tennessee, of all places. He fought in England in between there. But Khabib Nurmagomedov, I felt he's been an upstanding citizen. I feel for everything that he's done up to this point, this is completely out of character. So I would say that this is fair. I don't really think you can make it less. I'm not going to fight the length of it, especially since they gave him an option to make it only 6 months, because you just can't make a habit of people jumping into the stands. That's absolutely ludicrous. So hopefully that answers your question. Do you think there will really be 165 and maybe even eventually a 195? This is bullcrap. He got suspended for so long. I think they will make 165 this year. I would be very surprised. I don't know what the timeline would be for a 195. I think we need it. That outside of heavyweight, that's the biggest gap in between weights, 20 pounds from 185 to 205. So I think we need it. I think 165 will definitely come first, though. I think 155-pound division is not only the most stacked division in the history of MMA, it might be the most stacked division in the history of combat sports. And I'm even talking about the middleweight division when you had Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran, Thomas Hearns, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, all the guys that were back then. 155, there is just so much talent there. Master Miyagi says, the second biggest MMA show just called this out, Mike. Well, thank you, Master Miyagi. I think they were fair too, said Stone Wolf. Smiling Sam says, I agree. Finally, we all agree with something. Yeah, like I said, I can't fault the Nevada State Athletic Commission too much with this. I thought that, you know, they were fair with Jones for the most part. Is all they could go by was what the scientists said. I'm glad that they took their time in licensing him and didn't license him in a rush for that first UFC. Mike, how often would you say you lie? I don't think this is Smiling Sam Alvey. Conor versus Khabib, GSP versus Khabib. Or Conor versus Cowboy, GSP versus Khabib. Well, GSP is jumping down to 15. There's another question to that. All right. Conor versus Cowboy, GSP versus Khabib. Yeah, I know GSP's doing a test cut. It's interesting. I don't think he should be able to just jump right in and be able to get a title shot. What do you guys think? I think GSP, I don't think he's overrated so far for his career, but I think he's overrated right now. How often would you say you lie? I would say I try to be honest most of the time, but everyone lies. Even if not purposefully. You think Tony will get an interim shot again? I mean, the belt's going to be suspended for 9 months. Yes, he is. GSP. This is a watered down image, like a watered down. Oh my God, Master Miyagi. All right, timeout, sir. Now, Khabib says he's not fighting until his teammates' suspensions are up. No to GSP. Who wins Woodley versus Usman? I pick Woodley. I got Woodley pretty easy in that one. I want to go through the pound for pound. I'm going to start putting them down on the scroll bar, though, and see if you guys agree where they are. I'm going to do them one at a time, kind of explain why I have that person at the number I have them at, and then we'll have the whole list by the end. And I said I'm curious what you guys think. By the end of this. I'm going to get it going on the scroll bar here. And we will start out with number 15. And not everybody is on here. Not everybody on here is from the UFC. How about that? And if my show kind of sucks tonight, I apologize because, yeah, I am very much under the weather tonight. I felt good when I decided to when I decided to announce the show. I felt good. Since then, I don't know what happened, but yeah, I don't feel as good. I think somebody might have spiked my tea. And now even my scrolling bar is not working correctly, so I do not know why that is, but who win? I pick Woodley, though. 30% of me says Usman might win. I believe Usman could have what it takes to steal the title. He definitely could. Woodley is the GOAT. People just don't acknowledge it yet. Usman has to be... oh, Jesus, 30% racist. Stone Wolf, Usman never gonna live that down. You just need that alpha brain. I didn't take my alpha brain today, so that could be the issue. Woodley will never get a shot at the title again if he loses. Lots of pressure. Just look what happened to Miocic. Sorry for... oh, jeez. All right, Ted Bundy. Usman is getting KO'd more likely. I need to fix the fact that I have relations with dead bodies before you start criticizing the show. Oh, Jesus. Oh, that is great, I think. All right, let's start it out. Number 15. And I might get a little bit of criticism on this one for not having this person up higher. But number 15 on the list is going to be George St. Pierre. Reason George St. Pierre is number 15 on my list is that he has been inactive recently. And I don't feel it's fair to have him on there any higher than that right now. So what do you know? We're going to go ahead and go over to the list. Put up the display capture here. Switch over to the desktop. Fancy today. I got the word. I didn't even take the time to put everybody's pictures up, but Ted Bundy, I don't think he will this time. Woodley takedown defense is the best ever. I think Woodley takes it, but oh no, my God, I hope they didn't give you that roofie. It was just an accident. Whereas Usman better than Woodley, seriously. He is very good. I really didn't know it wasn't allowed. Oh, I was just messing with you. This chat is filled with 30% MMA holes. GSP only wants fights. He knows he can win. TB, I wouldn't worry. All right. Number 15, George St. Pierre. Do you guys think he belongs on this list? Do you think he should be higher on the list? GSP only wants to fight when he knows he can win. That's my take on it, and that's why he's at where he's at on the list. I can't not have him on my list right now, though. That much I can't do because he's done so much for the sport. It's been forever since he's lost. So it's pretty hard to say that he's not going to be on there. But George St. Pierre's going to be 15. Number 14, Stipe Miocic, the longest reigning ever heavyweight champion. Has not fought in quite some time. Not his fault. But nonetheless, he's been inactive. So that's what puts him at number 15 or number 14. I need to see the rest of the list first. GSP belongs there. Artem better be on that list. Why did you steal this segment? All right, Bendover. I did not... I've never seen him do a pound-for-pound list. Stipe Miocic, you know my favorite fighter. I would like to see him higher on this list, but I try to call it fair. Number 13, Conor McGregor. I think he still belongs on this list. First double champ of UFC history. First double champ in MMA history. So Conor McGregor, number 13. I'll save you the trouble for who's number 1. I think we all agree with Artem Go. Says the list based off consistency wins. Save the show. Says Bendover. It is based off of the weight. It is based off what they used to do in boxing. So if Stipe Miocic, say he was a 135er, I would have him higher on the list. The actual definition, if you look it up in Wikipedia or if you look up the history of it, the pound for pound was something to bring more credit to non-heavyweight fighters, like Sugar Ray Leonard and all the middleweights at the time, and it's supposed to be based on body weight. And that's why I don't agree with the UFC having Daniel Cormier at number 1. I'm going to spoil that for you right now. He's not number 1 on my list because when you look at him, I don't think he's pound for pound the best. Yeah, if they were all to fight at heavyweight, or if they were all to fight each other, of course Daniel Cormier and Jon Jones beats everybody. The heavyweights are going to beat everybody. But that's not what pound for pound's about. R.I.P. Joe Rogan. R.I.P. Greg Hardy's respect for women. Oh, that was horrible, wasn't it? ML said Joe Rogan is past. Any truth to this? Oh, Jesus. Feel better, man. I really enjoy this channel. Take care, guys. Thank you, Chris Jackson. I appreciate it. And Beethoven was funny. I apologize for not being in the form I thought I was before starting this. But let's move up the list. Does anybody argue with where Conor McGregor's at? Do you think he should be higher? Do you think he should be lower? I am interested. We're going to go out to the next one. If you want to chime in on Conor McGregor, we can come back to that. But number 12 is going to be Gegard Mousasi. I think this is well-deserved. He left the UFC on a 5-fight winning streak. He has victories over some of the best fighters in the UFC. had the big winning streak from UFC, comes into Bellator, beat Rory McDonald recently. I have a hard time arguing with not having him on the pound for pound list. I don't know if Conor should be there. Put Artem on there or Mystic Moss. I thought about it the first time through. I almost didn't put him on there. And once I get to number 10, we'll have some honorable mentions we'll talk about as we go through there, and maybe some big surprises that aren't on the list. Might get yourself some essential water, 9.5 pH. Make sure your body pH level is above 0. You probably already know this, but just remind. Well, I need the reminder. Thank you. I have bought it in the past, but I don't have any right now, and I should. So thank you very much for that. I've really just mostly been bedridden for just about a week. I'm pound for pound the best beer drinker. What's up, 700 Gabriel? 700 Gabriel in the house. Good to see you, my friend. So number 12, Gegard Mousasi. I'm going to go up number 11. I'm going to have another Bellator fighter. I thought that some people were going to be surprised today to have Ryan Bader on a top pound for pound list. And then I wasn't the only one. Some people had him even higher. I think he definitely deserves this, though. He was on a long run in the UFC. He went over to Bellator. Not only did he win the light heavyweight championship, he had to get through an entire tournament to become double champ. He didn't just wait till the right person became champion and then pick him off. I'm not saying everybody did that. I know Conor McGregor was kind of accused of doing that. I don't think anybody's accused Daniel Cormier of doing that by any means. He had the light heavyweight championship and then went up and fought the longest reigning ever heavyweight champion. But my number 11 is Ryan Bader. What are you sipping on, Mike? It is throat coat tea. It's got like echinacea in it, vitamin K, C, D, a bunch of different herbs and stuff. With some honey. Got a little bit of turmeric and cinnamon in there. It's also got a bunch of hippie flowers and crap in there. Doesn't make me feel better, though. Thank you, 700. Mike, perhaps you should collect a feel better. Oh, jeez. She's sicker than I am. She has pneumonia, and I just hoping that's not the way this is going. Ryan Bader wants Tito Ortiz now. Wants that to avenge that loss. Oh, that's a smart move for Ryan Bader because that's an easy fight. I mean, talk about a give me fight. I mean, it doesn't get any more give me than that. Ryan Bader would absolutely dominate Tito Ortiz now. Number 1 punked out of 5,000. Brendan Schaub says comedic. Bader deserves it. Still salty. Lost the Tito. It's been quite a while though. Bendover says pneumonia is hot. Tell her feel better. Thank you. Thank you. I'll tell her Ted Bundy says feel better. She'll like that. Could you imagine if Tito won the rematch? I think his head would finally literally explode. It is so big. I heard Joe Rogan talking about people with big heads, and he said, well, if your head's that big, then just work out to make your body catch up with it. And I thought, God, Tito would have to be like a 450-pound Super Hulk for his body to catch up with his head. I mean, he might have the biggest head of a normal person on Earth. Ted Bundy says feel better. I'm sure the MMA host hope she feels better too. Oh, Jesus. All right, I'll give you that one now. Bacteria and disease can't survive in an alkaline environment. Stay alkalized and stay healthy. I actually do have some alkaline water downstairs, I think, that I forgot about. Thank you for reminding me. Panhead Bob. Moving up the list, though, number 10, Dustin Poirier. He has not lost in a very, very long time. I feel this is very deserving. Let's go to the website. Well, they made it so damn hard to search now. But if you go to fighters, easiest, I guess, is to go to the division. And I don't want to go to Khabib Nurmagomedov. I want to go to lightweight. So that's how we do it. Okay. Okay, this has not been updated in quite some damn time. Oh, they have this by alphabetical order. This is #1 bullshit. Rankings, you frickin' a-holes. Lightweight Dustin Poirier. I said, he has not lost, I believe, since that big fight to Conor McGregor years back. He's much better since then. You come back, yeah, he's got a win over Eddie Alvarez, his last one, then Justin Gaethje, then Anthony Pettis. I mean, this site really sucks now. I should have went to Sherdog. Alvarez twice, yes, Jim Miller, all the way back, and then he lost to Michael Johnson. I forgot about that. I forgot he lost to Michael Johnson. I don't know how I forgot about that. He's not on the list anymore. No. But Dustin Poirier, I think he belongs there after his performances recently. Where is Stu? I haven't seen Stewie in a while. Mike, I've heard them speak highly of you before. Why don't you like them? I'm just fine with them as long as they don't start stuff on my channel. I don't have an issue. If he speaks highly of me, tell him thank you very much. CM Punk got to be in the top 10, and they do a great job on their show. I'm not gonna lie and say they don't. Steve Coker versus Dana White for the biggest head in the world title. #3, the Tire Tech. That Jake Hager, better known as Jack Swagger. That was an impressive debut, although it was against somebody that didn't belong inside of the cage. He could be a force to be reckoned with for sure. What kind of advice could you give me if I wanted to start my own channel? Don't do anything I did. No, bend over. Why do I keep repeating that name? Email me at fightswithferns@gmail.com when I'm feeling better. I would definitely help you out on some things. But I would say just don't be afraid of making mistakes. Get comfortable on the mic. Learn OBS. And watch videos of people that know how to do this. I wish I would have found out about a few tools earlier called TubeBuddy and vidIQ. And what they do is they help you optimize your metadata, which is your title description, your tags, and your thumbnail. And it will actually show you where you rank, not just on YouTube, but on Google compared to other creators and other sites. Also, try to be as fan-friendly as possible. It's very obvious to me my channel's been downranked in Google's rankings, way down, just because of some things that I did. Unless it's important to you, if it's important to you to not be censored, kind of like it is to me, then do your thing. But if you want to get higher up the rankings, try to figure out a way to be fan-friendly. They really like Chael Sonnen because he doesn't swear. And obviously a lot of people like to watch his videos because he's incredibly famous. Can I steal your ideas? If you find ideas that I have that are that valuable, go for it. You can definitely try. Number 1, pound for pound, Aaron Picos is genius. All right, let's go to number 9. The bantamweight, current bantamweight champion, TJ Dillashaw. Number 9, I still have him on this list for a lot of reasons. One, he's still the bantamweight champion. His loss was outside of his weight division. He hadn't lost in quite some time. Number 2, the reason he's still so high is he's 135 pounds. Like I said, this is a pound for pound list, so lighter guys are going to get more of a preference. If Ryan Bader was a 135 pounder, I imagine I would have him higher up on this list. Going to number 8, this is where I have Daniel Cormier. And this is where I differ hugely from the UFC, because the UFC still has Daniel Cormier as number 1. Reason I have Daniel Cormier at number 8 is I know he's a champ, but you look at him physically, and if you're talking about pound for pound, comparing him to the body weight of someone who's 125 or 135 or 145 pounds, Daniel Cormier, I believe he was 256 pounds in his last match. So you don't rank heavyweights up number 1 in the pound for pound unless the lighter weights are just that horrible. Okay, catch you later, Mike. All right, we'll see you later, Sam. Thanks for coming in. Also be prepared for a lot of haters and S-talkers. Yeah, I think my mods do a pretty good job. What's up, later, PR? We'll see you later, man. Thanks for coming in. Later, PR in chat. Oh, or he's saying it to Smiling Sam. I don't want you, but a lot of you maybe think Daniel Cormier should be higher on that list. But that's the reasons that I put him on there. Let's go to number 7. Robert Whittaker. Hard to argue with this. 185-pound champion. Twice beat Yoel Romero in insane fights. I thought Yoel Romero won one of those fights where Yoel Romero finished Robert Whittaker, or was close to finishing him in 2 different rounds. I thought they should have been 10-8 rounds. But they weren't the worst decisions in the world. So unless someone gets robbed or there's some kind of outside interference that makes it really, really shady, I've respected the decisions of the officials and the referees as far as deciding who won bouts and who should be licensed and that kind of thing. So Robert Whittaker is my number 7. Number 6, of course, Tony Ferguson. Hard to deny this guy. I mean, he should have had a title shot a long, long time ago. Been one of the best pound for pound for years now. I believe is on a 12-fight winning streak. He has not lost for a very long time. Anyways, so I think that's well-deserved. He maybe could even be higher up the list. Some of these, top 6 are kind of interchangeable. But let me know what you guys think of what I have so far. Does anybody not belong on the list? Am I way off on anybody? Drew Cummins says, this doesn't have much to do with the subject, but Anderson and Israel fight, I'm getting pumped for. That is going to be a great fight. That definitely, you can change the subject for a second to that. Israel Adesanya. I was close to putting Israel Adesanya on this list. He's not a champion, though, and it was hard for me to put him on there and not put some other people on there. He would definitely be in a top 20, though. Yeah, Kelvin Gastelum is from my city, little old Yuma. Too bad Robert Whittaker's going to eat him alive. I always underestimate Kelvin Gastelum, though. Always. I almost want to go with him this fight. just because I picked the other guy against him. For whatever reason, I never have faith in him. And then he proves me wrong. I look like an idiot. And yeah, it is what it is. So we're going to go at 6:25. We're going to go just 5 more minutes. Because like I said, I'm under the weather here. If you would like to extend the show, any donations before 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, whatever you donate, I'll extend the show by a minute for each dollar you donate. I know we don't have a whole lot of people in here tonight, though, so you guys may just want to get rid of me tonight. I watched the workout videos hitting Pat, and Anderson was looking sharp. He looked pretty serious, not waiting a long time for Anderson to take a fight serious. What's up, Javier? What is this? We're going through the top pound for pound in MMA, sir. It's going to be grand, Drew. All right. Number 6, Tony Ferguson. Number 5, Demetrius Johnson. Lost 1 fight, even though he's not in the UFC anymore. I mean, he's lost 1 fight, and that was arguably to Henry Cejudo, a guy that he had beaten previously, dominated. A lot of people thought he won the second time around. So to not have him on the top MMA list, I think would be absolutely ludicrous. Let's go up to number 4, and number 4 is Henry Cejudo, the current 125-pound champion. Has not lost since 2016 in a fight to Jose Benavidez. I think very worthy of the shot. Number 3, Tyron Woodley. This guy has fought the best of the best at welterweight. I think he would have fought GSP if GSP wanted to fight him, but I don't think GSP has any interest in that. I think he's just too big for George St. Pierre. He beat Stephen Thompson. They said, oh, that was close. Even though he almost finished him during the fight, they said, let's do it again. He beats Stephen Thompson again. He dominates Darren Till. He beats Damian Maia. He beats everybody. And he may even be up even farther on this list if he can pull off wins over Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington. Which, by the way, I think he should... What does everybody think about that first? Should Tyron Woodley be fighting Kamaru Usman first? I definitely think that it should be Colby Covington. I don't know why the UFC is choosing to get personal with Colby about that, but that's such a big fight. Jon Jones shouldn't be on there. PED, says Drew Cummins' guy. That's a lot of people's opinions, man. No, Colby. Oh, you're saying that it should be Colby? Yeah, I said I'm not a big Colby fan. I think he trash talks for the point of trash talking a lot of times. I don't think he's particularly good at it. But I think he deserved the shot. He beat those same guys before Kamaru Usman did. He had the interim championship, and they strip it for what? He has it for like 3 months, and all of a sudden he's not fighting for the belt. And that's absolutely ludicrous. So I hope Tyron Woodley, if he gets through Kamaru Usman, I'd like to see him fight Colby Covington. Then if he beats Covington, I'd like to see him move up to 185 and have Askren challenge for the title. Colby deserves it. I don't like him, though. Yeah, I feel the same way, Drew Cummins guy. It's like, this guy's not my favorite fighter, but I got to give respect where respect is due. For sure. For everybody, please hit that thumbs up button. 11 of you in here. I got 5 thumbs up. I don't think there's anybody new in here, but if there's anybody that's not subscribed, I am working really hard to try to get to 5,000 subscribers. And I got to tell you guys, there's just a few of you in here right now. A little embarrassing. You may be able to see it on my site, but I have not broken 1 million views for my channel total. The promo video for the Renato Moicano Jose Aldo fight, the Rafael Asancao fight, that was my 666th video ever. I'm at 717,000 views. So I made a hard goal to make sure that I am through 1 million views by, I wanted to, to have a monthly goal, and then I even cut it from that. It's about 10 weeks. So by April 16th, I want to make sure that I have 1 million. What's up, Mario Yamasaki? Mike, not Tyrone, thank you. Or Tyron, we've been through this. I don't know why I have such a hard time with that. I think I've just heard it said so many times that way. Yes, Tyron Woodley. Thanks for showing up, Mario Yamasaki. I almost had this later because of you, but I have early work, and I've had a bad case of the flu. Pretty much been bedridden. So as soon as I'm done with this pound for pound list, unless anybody wants to extend the show with the super chat, you can extend it by a minute per dollar. I'm going to go through this list, and I'm going to wrap it up for today. It's my list so far, Mario Yamasaki, and I am going to compare it to the UFC list real quick before I do that. Number 2 is Khabib Nurmagomedov. Hard to argue with this guy. When like 27-0 now. A lot of people didn't think Ally Quinta was very good until he started beating everybody else. Absolutely dominated Conor McGregor. Dominates whoever he has a chance to go against. He hasn't got the chance to fight Tony Ferguson yet. That's not his fault. But when people are making a huge deal because they think Conor might have won a round, you know you're damn good. I have a local MMA fight coming up in my town. I'm fighting if you got a Fights with Friends t-shirt or hoodie, I would wear it to help promote your channel. Send me an email, Drew Cummins guy, of where you're fighting. And yeah, we would get that up. I didn't even get my Fights with Friends t-shirt on tonight. That's how much I'm feeling under the weather. But yeah, definitely email me at fightswithfriends@gmail.com. And you guys are probably going to be seeing, you've probably been noticing, even though I've been sick, you've been seeing 1 to 2 videos from me every day. I'm trying to do a mix of videos that are promoting a future event or live stream and what you would call evergreen content, like my Is Fedor the GOAT video, or who would be better, Muhammad Ali versus Mike Tyson, the Mike Tyson things. I'm hoping those are things that people are going to click on, hopefully for years, to grow my income up. But I got to tell you, I really, really need a new computer. So hopefully I'm able to figure something out here with tax time. Yeah, me too, Mikey. I have a home coming up too. My friend, oh Jesus, I had to fight to keep her legs up. Did you reach out to Fitch? I was going to reach out to him today, Mario, but I'm just feeling so crappy. I didn't feel like having him on the show today. Thank you, though. He said, I'll reach out to him on Twitter. For those of you who don't know, John Fitch has said he will be on the show before his upcoming bout for the championship. He's been in the UFC for, was in the UFC for years, obviously. Had one of the most impressive tears in the welterweight division. And I got to say, Mario, I got a lot more respect for him. I never didn't respect him, but I really respected him when he stood up. When Dana White, I don't know how many people know this, but Dana White, when they were making a UFC video game, when they were first starting to make them, he said, I'm not giving anyone anything for their likenesses, like they do in the NBA and NFL and all that. He said, you're not getting anything. You're not getting any percentage of merch sales like they do in every other sport. And you're not getting everything. And if you don't sign this contract, I mean, it was like mafia style. He told him, if you don't sign this effing contract, I'm going to cut you from the UFC right now. And John Fitz told him, kiss my ass. And I've always had a little extra respect for him ever since that. I always thought he never got the respect he deserved. He didn't. He was Khabib before Khabib. He still got some great chain wrestling. All right, you guys have probably guessed who number one is by now and who is missing from the list. My number one is Max Holloway. He's been dominant in the 135-pound division. He's taken up the former champion Jose Aldo twice. He's been extremely active. Number one contender, Brian Ortega. That was a very legit contender. A lot of people favored Brian Ortega over Max Holloway, including the odds makers. He was extremely impressive in the way that he did that. And he's also up there because, like I said, weight makes a difference. It's pound for pound. Max Holloway, 145 pounds. He fits respect. All right. If nobody in the next 4 minutes wants to extend the show, like I said on Super Chat, you can extend it by a minute per dollar. And to start this off, I would even extend it a little bit more. But if not, I'm going to wrap this up for tonight. I am feeling under the weather, but if I was to get the donation, like I said, I really do need a new computer because I have things on my OBS that are just not even working. Like I tried to, and that's going to be the timer for the show right there. I respect. Nobody beats Max right now. If it's respect, yo, geeky. But what do you guys think about that list? I do want to know what would you guys change about the list? Would you keep it the same? And let's bring up the UFC pound for pound list. And you guys have already seen my big difference in this. Big difference is, of course, they have Daniel Cormier number one. I have him as number 8. Let's see if we can put these side by side. I tried to cut this out earlier, but it didn't show up big enough on the screen when I cut out the UFC list. Oops. So let's just go through it. Number 15. Oh, and I am making my own list for the females. I believe they not only deserve their own list, you can't really put them on a top 15 list when none of these women could beat the men. That's just genetics and being realistic. I'd move up DC a lot, says Comedic. Just holding it down one day at a time, bro. We'd all like to extend the show, Mike, tonight, but we're broke. I hear you, Panhead Bob. No pressure, man. That's my PNC. If anybody wants to catch an eye like Jammy online or in UFC 2 or 3, I'm going to have to figure out that capture card thing and try to do the UFC 3. Well, I was frustrated because my computer, it won't even run it. It won't even run the necessary programs to go through in stream from my Xbox at the same time. So for now, no UFC. If anybody wants to see me stream anything on PC, let me know. I'd be interested in that. I'd be interested in playing with you guys. But Tony Ferguson, of course, they have it at number 13. I had him up at number 6. I had Whitaker a little higher. I had Cejudo high. I can't believe they have Cejudo at number 11. Kind of surprised they weren't more disrespectful with Stipe, too. 10's not a bad spot for Stipe. Conor, Amanda, GSP, I think is extremely high for how active he's been in the last 10 years. I believe Tyrone Woodley should be higher. TJ Dillashaw, that's not a bad spot. But they still have him well above Henry Cejudo, so that's kind of interesting. Right below Max Holloway. And then Khabib Nurmagomedov drops 1. Jon Jones, you guys, and then number 1, Daniel Cormier. I did not put Jon Jones on my list. And it's not because I hate Jon Jones. It was because Jon Jones he's been under a lot of questionable drug testing, and according to the own USADA rules and the commission rules, Jon Jones should not be allowed to fight right now. He was inactive for a very long amount of time. I don't believe that they have sufficiently proven that Jon Jones has the rights to a license right now. I just think he's messed up too many times. He's been kicked out of the UFC, and he's not on my top 15. And I'm not sorry about it. Good list, Mike. I think Khabib should be number 1. He's undefeated and dominating everyone. I think GSP beats him rather easily. I do think GSP beats him rather easily. Wow. Jon Jones is a cheetah. You think GSP beats him rather easily, huh? Well, that is I thought about that matchup. That is a bad matchup for Khabib, because I think GSP has good enough wrestling to nullify Khabib's wrestling, and his striking is much better. So in the fact that matches make fights, I can definitely see that. I had Khabib at number 2. Him and Max could be switched. I mean, they're so close. Like I said, some of these I think are interchangeable. I think my list is better than the UFC's. Where do you think Artem Lobo will end up now that did he get cut? GSP is getting old. He is, but he's younger than Tyron Woodley. All right, guys. I'm going to wrap it up for tonight. Like I said, I got to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning for my next shift for work. I was off today. I thought I would feel more rested, but then this nighttime thing just kind of hit me. So thanks, everybody, for showing up. Let's shoot for 5,000 subscribers. I really want to hit 5,000 subscribers and 1 million views total as a channel by April 16th. That's my daughter's 17th birthday. That would really mean a lot to me. They say write down your goals if you want to achieve them. And I'm going to really be pushing to get those next, just under 300,000 views in the next 10 weeks. So be expecting a lot of content from me. Maybe some days up to 2 uploads. I won't upload over twice a day. I don't want to spam you. But once in the morning and once at night at most. I'll try to have out at least 1 video every day. Until next time, as always, I love you. I respect you. And I'll see your fine asses later.